Hi everyone, welcome back to Grandpa Mark's Hobbies and a build finale of Revell's 30 Ford Model A Coupe. I got a ton done today to finish this up because I want to get started on the next project. So let's dig right in. Zach's finishing up, airing up the tires. Wayne's over here cleaning the chrome. Chandler just can't leave that engine alone. TJ's finishing up polishing the body work down. Duke's taken about 700 rolls of film through this build, and I got Lee telling Tim that he wants to buy this. So this car is going to stay in the shop, which is I'm really happy with that. So let's dig in with what we got done today, which is pretty much a lot. Let's start out with the front and work our way back. The radiator went on without a problem, and the radiator hose. You have to put the hose on and the radiator at the same time just to get that angle proper on the radiator so it's not tilting forward or tilting back. So that went on nice. The air cleaners, what I did is I reamed them out just a little tiny bit so they fit in there nice and snug, but didn't sit high on it. So a little drop of glue, and I did glue those into place on this one. A lot of times I use sticky tack so I can take them off, but there's no detail that they're hiding, so there's no sense in the knot. Like I said, the only problems I had were ones I've created, and that one is when I put the headers on, I didn't have the steering linkage glued in. And I know the directions said you're supposed to have it that way, but I figured I could squeak it in. Well, you can't. So I had to cut the steering column and feed in the steering box down inside, and then run the steering column this way through it. But it all worked out, and to be honest with you, you'd never see it. So I got the headers on, I got the headers attached to the mufflers going inside, and then I used some of that new Tamiya's, let's look it up because I just went brain dead. Tamiya's Weathering Master to blew the exhaust on the wraparounds and up close to the engine. So I blued the chrome just a little bit, and I think it looks really good. Stepping back a little more, I got the throttle linkage in, and it's all hooked up, ready to go. And if you look down this way, I got a coil and the wire going over to the center of the distributor cap. So the front end is really well. Now let's talk about these these wheels. I had to remount where the axle pin goes in because they were so tight. I was afraid that I was going to break them off trying to push in against this, the flimsy front ends on these things. So I reamed them out just enough to where they fit in there, and then with just a little tiny bit of soapy water on the axle pin, I pushed it in. It had enough resistance to where I know they're not going to fall out, but I can still turn my wheels so I can line the Fords up and show it off a little bit. So I also added my dipstick. It's in the right place. It actually follows the dipstick line down that was molded in the engine. So that was pretty cool. Let's jump in here. I had to take the body or the internal frame off the chassis. I had it Mod Podged on there, which I'm glad I didn't super glue it, or else I would have had some more money in the swear jar. So I popped it off and I glued it into place on the body, and then was able to drop all that in. And then I fed the steering wheel through this way, or the steering linkage through this way, and glued it up underneath and into the hole in the front so everything would line up. I got my stick shift in, I got the dashboard in, and I think it looks pretty decent. I think everything looks really decent. This car it's a real nice looking car. So remember, the headlights are on, and I'll show you. My plans did work for this. You know, you take this off, of course. The seats are magnetized, so they just pop right out. This back panel just pops right out. And since I got Snicker bar fingers, I like to just kind of grab it with my brand new awesome tweezers that I got on Amazon. I grab my little thing and I pop out the battery. And they're off. So putting them in, I can actually hold it, because I did make a little handle here to hold on to. And it just goes into place most of the time. There we go. Lights on. It's wiggly here. There we go. Lights on. And then you just put it back together again real quick. The back panel slides in. Goes all the way down into the two locators in the floorboards. These have a P for passenger, a D for driver. Sit them in. The glass on this went in so nice. I know I talked about it last night with that update, but I have to say it again. It really did. And the mirror, I wasn't quite sure if I was supposed to glue it to the glass or to the top. It was easier to glue at the top, so that's where it went. And this fits on here. So nice. I mean, there's no panel. It doesn't even show that it's not glued on, so I can get away with that. And then remember, I did paint this, the titanium silver, just to make that a whole cohesive color from front to back. So now the back, I sure didn't run the lights to the back because I just didn't have enough room because of the way the lights line right up with the framework underneath here. So I would have had to move them somewhere, and these were molded in, and I wasn't about to go through filling and everything like that with a body that was this clean. So I just painted those the Tamiya clear red over the chrome, and we are calling this car Hot Ice. So I like that. I got the exhaust tips on. Let me flip this upside down. I'm going to take this off when I do it. But I'm going to flip it over and set it down here real quick. The rear end yesterday wasn't on. And somewhere in the world of parts is the correct drive shaft for this car and this setup. And I sure as heck could not find it. I don't know what I did with it. So this was the other one that came with it, and it's just a scotch longer. And I could have cut this off right here and then glued it back together again and got everything right, and taken forever to do it. I do have a saw with a miter box, but what I ended up deciding to do is I cut the bearing head off the back of the transmission, and it was the perfect length. So it was one of those, you do what you got to do. And again, it's not the kid's fault, it's mine. So there we go. With that, these went in really nice, no problem. I had to bend this one just a little bit just to line it up, but you know, that is what it is. They glued in really nice, and everything went in very tight. So I can't complain about anything except for what I did wrong. So there you go. I don't want to talk too much. I'm already into this almost 10 minutes now. I'm going to break it off here and tell everybody thank you. My guys all thank you. We all appreciate all the great comments we've had and suggestions and everything while I was building this and while I was building everything else. So let me pull these two in, and we'll throw them in with display. And I will start the music. I got all of the pictures that Duke took. I'll flash over some of the best ones. enjoy the music. And thanks again for watching, and you all have a great night.